Rightio, folks. It's a good evening from the studios here in Radio FM 88 Australia. Blue skies today, and then the clouds came in the afternoon. And of course, it's we have to wrap up, but not so in the UK. Our guests and our co-hosts are in the UK, and they're stripping off. They were getting 32 degrees and more, climbing at Gosport. It was 36.1 down in Hampshire there today. So without further ado, it's from the cold suburbs of Brisbane to the warm country of the UK. So good morning to you there, Priti, and good evening. Good morning to you. I got the name wrong, Catherine.
Cythare.
My apologies.
It's okay.
Okay. Good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning. And it's so unusual to have an introduction like that. Oh, from the it's unbelievable the weather we're having here at the moment, which is phenomenal and super good. And I want to introduce you to Cythare, a very unusual lady, filmmaker, photographer. She sees the extraordinary in the ordinary moments and does compositions with her photography, has lots of stories to tell us and some photographs to share that are her compositions. So, good morning, Cythare. Welcome.
Good morning. And good day, Jeffrey.
Oh, she's getting so colloquial straight away. Good girl. Okay, I've never said good day, Jeffrey, but why not?
Yeah, good on you.
Okay.
Oh, good day, Bruce, as they say. Yeah, as it's rumoured, they say.
You had that famous Bruce Forsyth, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was always good day Sheila and good day Bruce as far as
yeah.
the Aussies. Yeah. Yeah, we did have Bruce Forsyth. Yeah, great entertainer.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah. All right, so Pauline, what are we doing, mate?
Oh, well, there's a little bit about Cythare that she let me know about. She was born in Barnes. Was it born or grew up in Barnes, southwest, just next door to Putney, which of course is where I went to school in London. Yeah, that was my first primary school in Putney. So we're almost neighbours, or well, we would have been had we been.
Yeah, we were literally, but Barnes was is sort of it's encased like a horseshoe by the River Thames. So it was quite it was really energy in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and it had lots of common area. Still does. So you've got the village green that goes into Barnes Common, that then connects into Putney Common. So yeah, that huge. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's just.
Oh.
And we had the reservoirs, which has now been turned into a huge wildlife centre, which is great.
Yeah.
So we were very privileged to grow up there. We could come and go as we chose. We were latched door kids, me and my 5 younger brothers and sisters. It was in a time when there weren't so many cars. We were playing out on the street, and our friends would come out and play, and we had freedom to roam. Along the river, go climbing trees, just be kids. And the only threat I think any of us ever had was the occasional flasher on Barnes Common when the weather got hot. But that was it, And
if you got used to them, it's not much of a threat, really.
Well, they never did anything. There weren't that many. It wasn't like, but it was notorious. When the weather's hot like now, they're out there in their droves. But anyway, I move on. It was a very lovely place.
Very quickly.
It was we were very privileged to go up there, and it was a real sense of village and community. And my dad was an artist. He was still studying at the Royal College of Art when I was 4. So and so I used to go up with him to the Royal College, and it's people like Malcolm McLaren and Vivian Westwood and all that kind of crowd were sort of lunching on the next table, and I used to go up oblivious to this, obviously, and just Dad used to take me to work with him as well, so I was exposed to a lot of his creative work, which was in glass, wood, designing, whatever really. He could apply his talents to anything. He was a creative genius, but stained glass was the big love. And my mum was at home just looking after all of us, because there were 6 of us, and they had 6 of us within 8 years for whatever reason. Not Catholic, by the way. And yeah, it was a great childhood, and no TV, so we had no choice but to be creative, and it was all around us. So yeah, the whole family was creative. Yeah.
And it was your dad, you told me, that gave you a 35mm camera when you were 12. So he was the one that, if you like, implanted or impregnated you with the love of photography, aside from all the visits up to the Royal College of Art. So that 35mm camera, do you remember it?
Oh yes, very much. I wish I'd kept it. I don't know what happened to it, but my grandfather was also a filmmaker, and mainly films, like cine films. He was always doing something with that, and we'd have film shows when we went down to my grandparents, and so he was doing that. My grandmother had a dancing school, so it was like there as well. There was this huge creative environment. And also my great-grandfather was a photographer, so sort of one of the granddaddies really of the medium in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And I inherited all his glass plates. So yeah, it's just in the family. And my grandfather also was a musician. He would play this Hawaiian guitar, this huge, it's like a harp. But he wouldn't play it like this, like a Cythare. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a Cythare, but he would lie on his lap and play it. I've got it recorded somewhere. Yeah. So it was. We were very privileged, very different. This was a problem at school. Like, my family were very different, and I went to schools where, when you're kids and being different, in the wrong end of town to where I lived. Caused a lot of, it wasn't a very nurturing environment, put it that way.
It toughened you up, my dear.
It certainly did that, yes. And,
that was my mother's excuse for me as well, so I'm just going to pass it on. And tell me, do you remember the make of the camera that he gave you?
It was a Sekonic, and it was a little 35mm. I think Sekonic were a Russian camera. Very, very simple. Like, photography is simple, the mechanics of it. Digital cameras, overwhelming to begin with, which I self-taught in. When I was given, amazingly, about 10 grand's worth of digital camera equipment from some friends who were visiting from Australia. And they just said, look, we know you couldn't afford to buy all this, so you can have our kit. And so I have it to this day, and that got me going with composite photography, and made it more shareable really on the internet. And,
So it's composite photography. That's a kind of new expression for me. What are they? What's a composite photograph?
Well, it's a bit like a montage, where you get different images. You know how you used to cut out at school bits and pieces out of magazines and stick them all together. That's a collage, yeah. But a composite is like that, but I'll take pictures. Oh, this one, if you can show that full screen, because that you've cut a lot of. That needs to come down, so it's just the picture. Not being cut. That's it. Yeah, reduce. There we go. Or up a bit bigger. Okay, so composite. So this, I was running a nightclub called Dream, by the way. And,
would never have dreamt it.
And this is when I was living on Portobello Road in Notting Hill, London.
Okay.
I always wanted to live on Portobello Road. My neighbour, when I was growing up, she was older than me, and she used to put me on the back of her bike and drive me around Barnes Common. It was hilarious. I loved it. Anyway, Daphne, her name was, and she would tell me these stories of living on Portobello Road, and I'd be like, oh, wow, it sounds amazing. I want to live there. So one day I went up there when I was much older and just looked at all the empty buildings or properties above the shops on Portobello Road and knocked on doors, and eventually I struck gold, and I lived on the junction opposite Finch's Duke of Wellington pub. It's where the antique market turns into the fruit and veg. So I was there, and sorry, what was the question? I got a little off track there.
Oh, what was a composite? Because what
composite.
is a composite
Okay.
composition, I suppose?
Yes, exactly.
Of your photographs.
Yeah, so
because I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, I hadn't either. I didn't realize quite what I was doing when I was doing it. So the image that Jeffrey just showed was for this nightclub dream off Portobello Road that I was involved in. And so I went through magazines from the recycling bins. Anyone who had, people would give me their old Vogues or whatever they had. And I would just go through, and images that I liked, I would cut out and keep. And I had them all filed up. And then I would have an idea, like dream, what could I do for dream? And I go, oh, I've got this head, and that needs it. So it would sort of organically make itself. So in that image, there's the head, there's the explosion.
The explosion, yeah. And then there's it looks like the world in the lower left-hand corner.
I think it might be Mars.
Okay.
It might be Mars, but who knows? It's not. Who knows what it is?
It's planet.
Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 images in that.
Really? Hold on.
Yeah.
1,
and
2,
so then
3, 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got 2 backgrounds. That's actually someone doing welding at the top. This is some random sculpture.
Oh yeah.
And then the water drop, what looked like droplets on the back, a window with some water on, with colour behind it. Yeah, and then bits of tissue paper I cut out, pictures of tissue paper. And then we had the logo.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's a composite. You can sort of, it's surrealism really. You can make new images from established images. But I mean, I've done composites with over 60 images involved, so whatever you want to do with it really. And then this one, this was at a time when I was really, really broke. We didn't have the internet and mobile phones really. If we did have a mobile phone, it was usually in the the sort of music industry or something, where they had these big brick phones, and carried a power.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Those were just starting to come in very slowly. So yeah. So this was I'd cut this out. So again, on here we've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 images. I'd cut them out with hairdressing scissors and spray glue them down.
Wow.
So,
I mean, he looks like the Incredible Hulk in the middle with hair.
Well, it's actually lazy if you look closely.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It must be the greenness of him. So there's a beautiful one right at the very beginning, which is, I'm assuming it's your family, is it? Your brothers and sisters? Right at the first one.
What first one of what?
Of this, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so
this is a band I was in called
okay.
So this was in the 70s, sometime late 70s, I guess. Must have been about 14. Yeah, that's me in the middle. Me and a couple of friends met these guys outside a police station. Not that we had anything to do with the police. We just happened, that was the location. And a friend had cut her hand on some glass in her shoe, and these guys came up to help. And we got chatting, and somehow or another I ended up, they asked me, do I want to be a singer in their band? So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go. So we'd
So
had,
that was the audition, was it?
yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, just kind of where it went. And we had about a month to rehearse for our first gig at Tiffin's Boys School in Kingston. And
Ooh.
it was all sort of Buzzcocks covers, you know, really sort of new wave punk kind of stuff, as you can probably see. I mean, it was a real mishmash. Everyone's in their own sort of genre there. So yeah, and so, but I only did the one gig. You know, it wasn't. I had other things going on. But it's still going, that band, and they're called Angelfield. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the guy
Angelfield.
Yeah,
Angelfield without Cythare.
I know, you know, yeah, it was a long time ago.
So which fella in here is still doing it?
Oh no, the guy at the front, I think he died in about 77. You can go on their website, their old Angelfield, and go into their X-Spine website through that, and yeah, it's a bit of backstory there. But yeah, the band's changed a lot. Like my mate there really was Ziggy in the long coat. It was all sort of centered around him. He was the sort of center of it all. And we used to rehearse at his house, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. But I had incredible stage fright. I was very, very nervous of being in public and singing. So yeah.
So one gig and out.
Pretty much for me, yeah. It was incredibly stressful. As much as I enjoyed it, I just found it, all that attention on me. I just couldn't. I was too young to handle it at that stage. Yeah.
I mean, where do we move on to next?
Oh, well, let's see what we got here. This was my first ever published photo, and this is of they were famous. I don't know if they're still going. Katrina and the Waves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Walking on Sunshine, she was singing. And this was when I was studying photography in East London at Sir John Cass, which is now called the Cass, because Sir John Cass wasn't a very nice man. He was very involved in the slave trade, and so they changed the name. But it was a brilliant art college and part of the Metropolitan University. And I used to do the photos for the Graffiti, the college magazine, and my friend Sue would do the write-ups, and it was great. Yeah, so that was the first published in the magazine, Katrina and the Waves. And I just loved that edginess of the bands and the being, you know, anything can happen. And I suppose from my grandmother, because she was always putting on shows for charity, these incredible dance shows. And this whole sense of occasion and, you know, all leading up to something and everyone very excited and bringing out the best in themselves. And, you know, and the parents would be building the sets and the, you know, moms would be making the costumes. And it was an amazing thing. So I love that on stage, that performance.
Okay, so.
Oh, and this is also from that time. This is Buddy Curtis and the Grasshoppers, which I've coloured in with a pencil because it was a black and white photography course, all in old school film, you know, developing your own negatives and printing your own pictures. And yeah, and so yeah, so I would use a pen and colour in. So Buddy Curtis and the Grasshoppers, brilliant fun band.
Yeah.
And
where are we next?
This is Joby. Joby was the son of my tutor, head of department, Mick Williamson, who ran the photography course I was doing, which is it was a fine and applied art photography course. So not like a commercial. It was really about self-exploration and creativity, and it was an incredible course with an amazing bunch of people. We were all ages and all different backgrounds. And this was on a field trip. We used to go up to Derbyshire and stay at one of Mick's friends. He knew so many people in the photography world. We'd have lots of different speakers come and do projects with us. I mean, it was an extraordinary course. And so we used to go up to Derbyshire, and this is and go out and photograph wherever on the day we decided. And this was an old tennis court, and Joby was just standing there, and I just love that picture of him.
So it's got a lot of meaning for you.
Yeah, And it was very much a time of, you know, seeing, looking out through photography. It's that sort of not really sure what's that going on behind it. You know, again, it's that sort of slight juxtaposition that makes you look a bit more into it. And yeah.
Oh, moving on. Here we go. Oh,
and I
it's
love
interesting to see black and white photographs now. You know, it's not the norm, but
no.
they're quite stunning.
Thank you. Yeah, they convey a completely different experience. So when you take away the colors are wonderful, and I work a lot in color. But black and white, just, I don't know, it's a different language. And
It is.
It is. And this is
it's like the forerunner of digital, really, because it's black or it's white, or there's the in-betweens that I can see now.
It's funny, when I was doing this course, one of the guys in the course, the year above me, he said to me, it's all going to go digital one day. This is like in the 80s, mid 80s, he's saying this to me. And I said, what's digital? He said, oh, it's all ones and zeros. And I'm like, oh. What does that mean? Oh my gosh, do we know that what it means now? But yeah, it's very much dealing with raw materials. But this image is of he's actually very famous in Australia now. His name's Matt Preston, and he was heading up MasterChef there, and he was a good friend of mine. But yeah, he left our shores to your sunny part of the world, Jeffrey. But yeah, he wanted some photos of himself, so we just wandered around Eaton Square in London, where he was living at the time, or staying with friends. And yeah, so I took a few, but this is my favorite one. It just, again, what are you really looking at? It's like, it's the everyday, but there's so much more to everything, you know, with our busy lives and distractions. What I love about the photography is it just sort of stop and smell the roses a bit, you know, kind of thing. Yeah.
So tell me, what do you see in this photograph?
What do I see?
If there's so much more, of course, he's there and he is the central focus, but then there's all those shadows.
Exactly. So it's just like, what are you looking at? You know, it's a pipe, but is it a pipe? What's that shadow? You know, it just, I suppose it's a bit Escher-esque, if you know what I mean. It's like you think you know what you're looking at, but then you don't, because when you look at it, you go, well, what is it actually? So it's just that sort of just stopping, just come off the hamster wheel, have a, you know, just something that breaks. Like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but that sort of dog and bone thing, you know, you're just going for something, you day, right, I've got to do this and go here, there and everywhere. Whereas I'm very visual, I'm always looking here, there and everywhere, and I just, so it's sort of to just direct people to that, really, just to take a moment and experience something they wouldn't necessarily experience, maybe. Yeah.
Definitely shadow work there, isn't it?
Yeah. What's going on behind the scenes, eh? Oh, look at this one. Wow.
This is when I worked in catering for about 10 years as a waitress to get me through photography college, and just, you know, everyone does their stint, I suppose, in catering one way or another. But anyway, when I was working at Peyton Place in Shaftesbury Avenue, it was a fish restaurant owned by Bill Peyton, who has the Chicago Pie Factory. He had Peyton Place, and there was somewhere else. Anyway, so it was his, and it was down in the basement, so you had to walk down. And there were all these fishing nets everywhere, as you know, the sort of very fishy scene. And so at a certain time of day, the light came through, and I just was like, oh, and we were just talking. I said, oh, hold it there, because I always had my camera with me. I literally had it round my neck, and it would be here. So as soon as I saw something, I go, and that was the skill that was very much encouraged by Mick, our tutor, you know, to capture, you know, because it's so quick.
I mean, that's quite extraordinary, that the shadowing there on his. Yeah, you're right. If you hadn't explained it, I wouldn't have automatically known that the forehead was
Yeah.
the light from a net.
No. But that's
No,
yeah.
and being black and white, it could be any kind of makeup artist's work. It's just quite spectacular, really.
It's really about his eyes. He had this amazing,
Yeah,
he had these amazing eyes, and I just think it's sort of, to me, it was like he never totally revealed all of himself. You know, it was like there was always a bit hidden. He was a lovely man. I don't know what happened to him, but so I think he was my boss within the restaurant. He wasn't the boss, but yeah, he had some sort of, I think he was management.
Okay, so we're moving. And how old were you at this time in your life?
Oh gosh, this is still the early mid 80s.
Okay.
So I did.
All right. Yeah. So we've got a few more years to catch up. Got another 40 years to go. So let's move on a little
Moving
bit.
swiftly on.
You know, it reminds me of, am I a prisoner of my own device? You know.
Yeah. Well, we all have some kind of bondage, so to speak. You know, that holds us back. Maybe that's what life's about, to sort of clear that. This was my first magazine cover. It was also, and again, funny, the connection with Australia. It's the London Australian Weekly. It used to be given out free at the tube stations all around London, because we had so many Australians here. And they had never done a black and white cover. I was actually working in the in advertising for this company that did magazines, publishing house. So anyway, they asked me to do a cover, and that's what I came up with, and they loved it. So it's their first black and white. I don't think they've ever done another one. That was a trip to Paris in the mid, about this same time in the 80s. And I'd never seen that sculpture before. I'd never seen the Eiffel Tower. I'd never seen that angle of view before, so it's quite unusual.
Isn't it up
there?
That's
just one.
Troubadour Square or something?
Sorry?
Is that on Troubadour Square? Is it Troubadour?
I wish I could say exactly what that place is called, but yeah, it's a big sort of open area, a big sort of viewing area.
Yeah, I think it was Troubadour. And they got
what's it called? Trumpeters.
The other magazine that was pretty strong at the time around Earl's Court was The Lamb.
Yes, that was the rival. Yeah.
That was one. Was that Australian or New Zealand? The Lamb. Okay.
And then
here comes the explosive thinkings.
Well, because I'd given
dreaming.
I'd given up. I was still working in advertising a bit, but I was pretty broke, and I was really, because I'm an artist, I wasn't really doing much with it really. I was just pretty much having a good time in Portobello Road. There's a lot of film people and music people, and so I was sort of down the other way.
Is living
this is Portobello Road.
That's where Paddington goes shopping. So I was living above the Ormond Gallery, which was antique Chinese sort of Oriental antique dealer. I mean, there's so many pictures of Portobello Road, but none of where I lived. I don't know where that is. All that. No, this is all. That might be along the Westway up the top of Portobello. And these are just houses and shops around Portobello. But if you put in the Finch's Pub or Duke of Wellington, you might get something closer. But it was at a time, so I was being very creative. I wasn't earning much money in it, and I was sort of like, what do I want to do? And
is this it? You lived above here?
No, not above it, opposite, to the right. This is a crossroads you're looking at. That's Portsmouth going down the edge.
Oh no, we don't want that.
Yeah, no, and yeah, that's what I faced.
All right.
But yeah, I'm just.
So if you're opposite this, obviously this photograph that Jeff just showed, with seeing the Duke of Willikin straight opposite us, that would be where you lived, above wherever that's been taken.
On the other corner of the crossroads.
Ah, the other corner. Okay, then. All right, we've got you.
Yeah. So I what did I start? What was the last picture?
Here she is.
If you go back up though, because we hadn't got to that. Or had we?
Yeah. No, there's the dream.
So at this time I'm deciding what I want to do, what direction to go in, and that lady that you just showed is Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi. I didn't actually take that photo, but it's a picture I really like of her. And my brother introduced me to her meditation technique, which enabled me to learn how to meditate, like truly meditate, and just focus inwards. And photography and everything was all out here, and it was an expression, obviously, of what's within me. But I needed to balance myself and ground myself, because life was pretty busy and whirlwindy and lots going on. So yeah, and I've been doing this meditation since I was 25, which is when I met Shri Mataji as well a number of times, and just an amazing peace and stillness would come from her and the people in her orbit, really, that came into her orbit. So yeah, and she traveled the world giving people en masse, and has been highly recognized all around the world with many honors and of self-realization. So it's sort of this integrating of the different aspects of yourself to bring you into the present. So you're not thinking one thing and your heart's going the other way. So, there's all this sort of disintegration, really. So she brings that through this technique of self-realization to stillness, where you just sit, you're in the moment more. It really helped me do that and steady myself. Yeah. And I stopped drinking and doing any sort of party stuff that I was doing. It really saved my life, actually. Yeah.
And where did you meet her?
There were meetings all around London, all around the world, actually, but all around the country. But I actually went to the first Sahaj meeting in Ladbroke Grove, and I had a very powerful experience. It was very I felt wonderful, really, really good. And this is all around Colville Square. Yeah, it's around the corner from me. You could put in the Ormond Gallery; it might come up. Might hit the jackpot. Ormond, Ormond, ORMONDE, Ormond Gallery. That's it, Portsmouth Road. So that has remained with me, and then I sort of started to settle down, and then I had a baby. So I got even more houses. So that's the picture. If you go,
okay.
Yeah, so that's Tony, who is still my friend. We're not together, but we're still friends. And my eldest, Keir, and the youngest, Oliver, and he's reading them a Tintin bedtime story. So they occupied, obviously, the next couple of decades of my life. So I was still doing a little bit of photography now and then. But yeah, they were my sort of creative project. If you're not even a project, they were the sort of everything was going into them. And I was bringing them up to meditate, and a sort of holistic education and experiences. We travelled quite a bit. I took them to Australia in about 2008 because my brother lives out there in the Blue Mountains. So we stayed there for a little while, went up the coast, stayed in Sydney, met some lovely, lovely people, including the two people who gave me all my digital photography kit. That's when I met them there, and then they came here. So yeah, and so as they were getting bigger, you know, I still loved the bands. I loved the music and the performance. And so this is actually from Australia as well. Funny this. His name's Mal Webb. He's from the Formidable Vegetable Sound System. Bit of a mouthful. Fantastic band. And this was a permaculture festival in London, up around King's Cross somewhere. So yeah, I just love that image. And Mal's
very good.
He's an amazing musician. You need to check the band.
And you haven't done anything to the photography there?
No. That was the green. Yeah, it was green light on him.
Yeah.
And the red, obviously, you can see the bit of the red. And
yeah.
that's up at a music venue. Actually, someone bought it who runs a music venue in Hampton, not far. And yeah, they bought a few of my music images actually, but that's one of those quite big. You know, it's like, I don't know, what's that, about 3 foot or so tall. So yeah, it's powerful. Oh, what we got here?
We're back to Portobello Road.
Oh, stop now! With all the scaffolding on, go back the left. There.
Straight opposite.
Now this isn't the Ormond
There
Gallery.
we go.
That's called the Holy Carrot or something crazy.
Gotcha.
But where the sign is, that was my floor. That's where I live.
Wow. Okay, cool. We found you.
Yeah. It's still green. It was always green. It used to be a pawnbroker's next door. It had a huge ball. But anyway, that was a very amazing place to live in the 80s and early 90s. And then that's just around the back of it. Yeah, so you've placed me.
We found you. There's something really kind of intriguing about Google, that it has the capacity to take people back. And Jeff's done this a couple of times on the show. It's quite something. That's where you used to hang out. That was where, you know, it's live. It's here.
But that is as it is now. It's not as it was. You know, but I think you can go back in time on Google, but I don't know how. But yeah, so So when I had my eldest in '94, we moved out probably within a couple of years, you know, because I didn't want him growing up around there. It was too wild, you know, it was just party, crazy town. And so we moved out to East London and had a house out in Leighton for a couple of years. And then the landlords wanted to sell, and he said, why don't you try and get a council place from where you're from, around the sort of Barnes, Richmond area? So I was like, give it a try. So I did, and I ended up we had a flat in Kew Gardens, near Kew Gardens.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, but I still carried on with the photography, and I was still meditating and really focusing in. It was a real spiritual sort of couple of decades of inner clearing. And you know, I'd been through quite a lot at school. I used to get bullied. I had difficult relationship with my parents. So you know, I was a little bit what's the word, dysregulated, I think. And so meditating and being with people that meditated and were also on a sort of spiritual adventure quest, whatever, really, really helped. And it was good for the kids. It was a huge community. So yeah, it was an interesting time.
Oh, more bands coming up now.
This is just sitting by the river. These guys, I've got a bit of feedback for some reason. Yeah, again, you know, you just got to be quick on the draw. And then I was doing magazine covers for Darling magazine. It's just one of the favourites. Yeah.
They're
this
in
is
front of a Buddha, are they?
no, it's a lady. Actually, it's a composite because that is a statue that's much smaller than they are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so no, that's a lady. It's it's at a museum in Kingston. It says on there, I can't recall right now who it is. The Dorridge Museum. It's a house that's been turned into a museum. This lady just did loads of sculptures and stuff. Very, very talented. Right next to Richmond Park. But yeah, and they're part of the art scene, those two, in the Kingston area. So yeah, it was good. This was again back to Australia. God, I'm really it's just
giraffes?
all coming to, it's just like odd. I hadn't sort of seen all this until now. But then this is a competition I won at the Australian Institute of Professional Photographers, ran a competition. And these are they were really established composite. It was for composite photographers. I'd never entered this kind of competition before. We were given set images like a giraffe. There were a whole load of things. There was this background. There was one giraffe. There was one meerkat. There were other things, and you could choose what you wanted to make a composite. So I did this. Blow me down. I got fourth place. Which was fourth to me was like, oh well, I didn't win, but hey, it was fourth against top professional working composite artists, and they loved it. They said they loved the humor.
Okay, so what have we got going on here?
You got
Can we enlarge it, Jeff?
Yeah,
That's a meerkat on top of
Yeah, it's a shame you can't. Oh yeah, you can. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, down a bit.
Haha. Oh, so we've got. Are they all
there's
meerkats?
meerkats on their heads racing
Yeah.
giraffes. So it's the same meerkat, but I had to take the arm and create another little figure and bend the back, but it's all actually coming from the same meerkat. I just made them look different, and it's the same giraffe that I've reproduced, and I've moved the legs, and the neck.
A meerkat-driven giraffe.
Yeah, it's called the race.
What do you call it?
The race.
The race.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, that is quite funny.
Yeah, that's what they like. That's hence I got a place. Yeah, which was very good. And then this one was my own imagery. This has got so many. These seagulls I photographed down on Richmond on the River Thames. The little boys I photographed in a different location. The balloon is just stock imagery, as is the background, and then I just put it all together and mishmashed it up, and that's what I got.
Put a bit of cloud in there, a little bit of mountains.
I think you need to reduce it a bit because it's still well, no, nearly. So a lot of parents, because through a friend's nursery school branch that she had, I did a shoot, and the parents would put their kids in the balloon, so I edit different families and kids in. But that's my favorite. And it's working with color and just this more surrealism, more, I don't know, I just love doing it. This is actually a photo taken. This is actually inside the oldest oak tree in Richmond Park.
Wow.
Not that she's there, it's just the wood, the dark tunnel. They're all, and then I photographed the stopwatch independently, the snails. I got one out of the garden and photographed it. The rabbit is of two rabbits joined together from a rescue centre where I got my rabbits for my children many years ago, and I contacted them because I needed a white rabbit, and they were closing down and they only had these two rabbits left, and so I did I photographed them and mixed them and got that, and I gave them a copy of this as well. I've got a picture somewhere of them holding it framed and just delighted. It was nice sort of thank you for all the work they did for rescuing rabbits. It was a sanctuary for rabbits. And the little girl, because I work in childcare sometimes, she's one of one of the family's daughter, who had been absolutely fine with me sharing this image. Yeah, and she just was the perfect Alice. I was like, yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Alice in Wonderland. And this
Very
was
good.
around COVID. This was the sort of going down rabbit holes, and you know, it was sort of, yeah, it was such a strange time through COVID. And this is what I came up with. And I'm fascinated by that whole going from one place into another, the Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Those stories as a kid really captured my imagination of other dimensions and other experiences within unusual settings and ordinary settings. Yeah.
Okay.
And then this was the last.
Oh, here's the one.
This one, yeah, you can make that bigger for sure. This was a composite I still haven't finished because I've had other things going on, but this is called Recidivist. My father actually gave it the name. He passed a few months ago. But it was about COVID, and if you could make it a touch bigger, my screen's not so big. Is that, scroll up a bit? Right, yeah, that's fine. That's good. That's good. Oh no, down a bit, because you're chopping off the top left, and that is an eagle. Or
okay.
So yeah, it's the whole thing. Everyone was in their gilded cage at home, and all the to the beauty, we were all locked up, and then the gate opens, and you got ones that just zoom off. They're like, yes, we're out of here. And there's one on the edge there, like undecided, like, you're coming, you know. And the one is like, I'm not coming out to freedom, you know. I like my safe cage. And then you got the wild birds that were never in the cage, all like looking down in amusement. And there's even a squirrel up there in the tree.
All right.
Like, what is going on here? And this is the thing, it's like that little bird is scared of that little black top left of that bird of prey, you know. But that's life, you know. There is an edge to life.
These look like robins, are they?
Yeah, they are robins. And there's a little blue tip in the tree. There's a wren. There's a butterfly.
Oh my goodness.
I shot all this in Richmond. Actually, the cage was in Hampton, near Hampton Court, at an antique shop. All the blossom was from trees in Richmond. The robins and the sparrows, I didn't actually shoot myself. I couldn't, so they were stock, but then I changed them around, and because you can mold a bit like clay images on digital, you know, in Photoshop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what was the tree then? I mean, that's gorgeous.
The tree, actually, the branch is from, I think, one of those sort of Japanese trees, you know, with the red leaves. There was no, so that's that. But those are cherry blossoms.
Yeah. And you're right. You have to really study it to see what's going on.
Well, if you make it even bigger, you can go into the blossom, and that's, gosh, I don't know how many different pictures of blossom I've got there, if the quality's good. So yeah, you can start to see, and there's bees. I photographed the bees as well, and so you'll see bees scattered in it. Yeah, so yeah, very fiddly, and then you've got get all the color corrections. It's a big job. I've spent hours on that. And getting all the leaves the same color or similar color. And yeah. So I've yet to finish that. I think it's just the chain on the cage needs to be perfected. And then I want to.
Little bird. Yeah.
Which little bird?
This little bird. Oh, I'm pointing to it. The robin that's pointing his head down like this.
That's a wren.
That's a wren, is it?
Yeah, it's the smallest English birds. They're tiny. They're very shy.
Just above the chain, yeah.
Oh, there. Oh, sorry. I thought you were looking top.
Yeah. That was one.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's quite an inquisitive bird, isn't it? I mean, what is that?
Yeah. So these are our English birds: blue tits, robins, sparrows.
Yeah. Not
that we see as many as we used to anymore, but Yeah, sparrows. Yeah, these are stock images. But again, you know, I've coloured and moulded how I want them.
Wow.
So yeah,
You
that's
kind of wonder what kind of conversation are they having about what's going on, and
yeah. What's wrong with you? Why don't you come out? Why do you want to stay stuck in there? I mean,
yeah,
that
look, he
Robin,
looks terrified.
that
Yeah. Oh,
recidivist,
yeah.
the recidivist, he's the recidivist. That's about 4 different robins that I've put together.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
where did the name? I know you said your dad named it, but what was it that made him choose that name?
Recidivist because it means to pull back.
Pull back.
Yeah, it's French. You know, to hold back.
Okay.
Which is, you know, sadly, a lot of people were in that sort of mindset of just because
pulling
of fear,
back.
mainly. They had been so fear of God had been put into them, or fear of whatever, of death, that they didn't want to come out.
True.
Yeah.
And the others were like, we're taking our chances because we got a life to lead, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the others were just sitting on the fence or sitting on the twigs, on the branches.
Yeah.
But that eagle, you're right, is quite significant up in the top left-hand corner, because there's one. Goodness, no, yeah. Clever, just clever and insightful. And
what's interesting is I started doing this actually because I was doing a course with an Australian, one of my mentors who's Australian, and it started off as a piece for that course, which I never got finished because it was a short course, and it's just been ongoing. But yeah, that has its roots Australia also in the inspiration, but it kind of grew. You know, it was a pencil. You get a pencil idea, you draw it down, and then it just grows.
I really like that there's an awful lot of birds hidden in the cherry blossom, and they are hidden in plain sight.
Yeah,
it's not obvious. It's not obvious when you first look at it. It wasn't for me.
It needs to be really big, that image. I mean, the idea is to have that like at least a meter wide, you know.
Yeah.
Because there is so much in it. And I haven't even put the ants. I haven't, because there's always ants on trees, and I haven't put the ants in yet.
Yeah, hidden in plain sight.
It's a beautiful world. It just depends where you put your attention and your focus, you know, as to what you experience. Now, so I hadn't done much street photography at all, because all the laws changed. Like when I was doing black and white, you could photograph anything, you know, go anywhere, and everything was game. But now you've got to get permission from the person you photographed if you want to put it anywhere, you know. It all became much more restrictive. But then when this was the first demonstration I'd ever been on, and it was against Theresa May, the British Prime Minister at the time. And yeah, not one more day of May was the strap line for this one, for this demo. So I went down just to take some photos. I thought, you know, I want to go, and just because things were starting to get tight in England, you know, there was clearly something more than the normal coming to sort of try and contain the people. And so yeah, this was about, you know, cost of living was going up. This woman just, I just thought was brilliant. She reminded me of a real revolutionary, getting up and, you know, encouraging the people, and she was up there doing just that. So it was very, yeah, it was incredible. Went down to Downing Street, and it was, you know, people were calling for her resignation, or of the whole Tories, but doesn't matter if it's Tory or Labour, it's all the same product wrapped up differently, different wrapping paper. And then the COVID hit very shortly after that. And this is when everyone was supposed to be inside their homes during lockdown, or lockup, as I refer to it. You know, for fear of death. Again, if you go out, this invisible thing's going to get you. Meanwhile, about once a month, and it grew to well over 1 million people were coming together like this in those conditions of, and protesting against the lockdowns. No one's wearing any masks. No one's 6 foot apart. No one keeled over. No one, you know, it was fine. And so this is coming up Park Lane, and this is coming through Marble Arch. They opened the gates, and everyone just poured through. It goes all the way down towards Buckingham Palace, actually. And this is Hyde Park. So they're all coming up. It just came and came. People just...
It's actually quite something to have captured an image like that in those circumstances.
It was an amazing time. It was amazing. I mean, yeah, so that, yeah, that's those gates going through.
Those gates were opened.
They were open.
Wow.
Just like all the way down behind that. I mean, it was just chocker full of people. Yeah, there's always some strange.
It is a bit like Least We Forget, because it's too easy to forget what was going on then.
Well, it depends.
And who'd have thought that just walking around was an act of defiance?
It was a huge, I think people felt very isolated. There was this real agenda to isolate people, keep them inside and not connected. And this was an incredible coming together where people that realized there was something more, we didn't sit comfortably with them, what was going on, just came together somehow, word of mouth, the internet, however it all happened, and people would show up, and it really empowered us. And I think it contributed a lot to the agenda not fully rolling out. And this wasn't just happening here. This would be happening. It got coordinated to all the main cities around the world. I'd be going in Australia, in Europe, in America, in Canada. I mean, it was a huge collective no, basically. And it wasn't covered by the mainstream media. None of this was put onto the BBC or any of the mainstream medias. So people didn't really know about it unless you were sort of questioning what was going on, and you wouldn't know about it. You know, most people didn't hear about it. And I have a lot of images,
Yeah, GB News is only 5 years old, so if they were around at the time, they would have filmed it. I'm quite sure of it.
Yeah, it was there were some YouTubers who were coming down and broadcasting it. There was I forget. I think it was a Russian channel. They were always broadcasting. But yeah, but mainstream wouldn't. They didn't want the people knowing. You know, there was a choice actually.
Because the movement was really stand in the park.
Yeah, that came through it as well. Yeah.
So it was 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning all over Australia, particularly in the UK.
Yeah, still going on.
And then we had our marches in Brisbane, and the mainstream say, "Oh, there's 1,000 people turned up," but you know, it's close to 30,000.
Yeah.
One in Canberra, we got so huge, pretty close to 1 million people. But mainstream media said, "Oh, yeah, there's about 5,000 people turned up." It was over 1 million people.
Yeah.
And we had a guy called Michael Gray Griffiths. Twice we've had him on. I call him Australia's last investigative journalist. And I said to Michael, you get 1 million people there, and they weren't listening to mainstream media. That's TV, radio, or newspaper. So the frequency at which they were broadcasting on wasn't being received by these people because they were operating on a different frequency. And you'd have to say that frequency brought all these people from all over Australia. They weren't listening to mainstream. They were listening to a whole new frequency on a higher plane of distance that brought them all together.
And there was something much deeper, because it all comes down to, so I would say, what you can call a spiritual war.
It is.
You know, yeah, because it's energetic, and yeah, very much so. So yeah, it's that level which is bringing people together and has changed the world in such a positive way. As people tune in on those levels more, without even being conscious of doing so. A lot of the time, it's like a shoal of fish, you know, all just coming together. But yeah, that was very empowering, that period. But after a time, you know, the marches got controlled and directed, and preaching to the choir, and it lost that initial. The first sort of, I would say, 4 or 5 marches over that first year, 2021, was really powerful, really, really, and propelled us forward to where we are now. You know, without that, I don't know how we'd be getting through what we're going through now.
Well, there's photos of Boris Johnson, who was your prime minister at the time, along with other members of the G7, and they're all shaking hands and all that stuff without any masks.
Yeah.
Once that photo got out and told them that different rules altogether, they went within the 1.5 meter, and we found out 1.5 meters was just a bloody Anthony Fauci just plucked that out of the air. You know, just another BS. You know,
complete psyop, creating a mind prison in people. You know. But, you know, it was difficult, because you've got frequencies coming out of the television, like whatever that gigahertz is, and the phones and the computers that your brain tunes into, plus the radiation. You know, so your electrical structure that makes you function is being interfered with and messed with. So you're fragmented. You become, you know, it puts people off course. So hence you have, you know, the mix of people, the mix of opinions.
Well, yesterday we interviewed the lady for our North American show. She's based here in just between Sydney and Canberra. Judith Collins. You want to watch that show?
Okay.
She was very, very strong. So her and her husband, who passed away back in 2024,
Right.
They created a permaculture scene some 60 years ago. So it became the living university for permaculture and off-grid living, a bit like Findhorn. However, her gift when she was 3 years old is to read auras and seeing people's auras and how they would shift and change based on their thoughts. And as I was saying to Priti before, you know, it's about the food you eat, the drink you eat. By drink is, you know, and the people you have around her. So when she talked about auras and how the colors and that shift, she said not only does she look at humans, she was looking at animals, but more importantly, plants. So she was the one that wrote the book on compassion growing. So if you ever look in our private chat there, I'll put the actual link to her website.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, do.
So that's
it's interesting. It's interesting because with Carolan photography, you know, where they can
curling, yeah.
Oh, curling. Yeah.
see all the colours and everything coming off. Well, with this meditation I do, there's pictures of before where there's lots of gaps in that Carolan photograph, and then when they've done, you know, a short meditation, it all gets restored. Amazing.
Well, what's her name? Judith said when she talked about electronic frequency breaking up your auric pattern, she said the quickest and easiest solution is just to go out and look for a tree that's over 20 years old and just sit there with your back to the tree, and within 10 minutes you're back in balance.
Yeah, lie on the grass, look at the sky. Yeah, use nature, definitely. The natural elements, without doubt, very powerful. Yeah, so, and even that's being, you know, severely attacked. You know, the weather wars going on too. So this is
interesting conversation. Weather wars. People don't realize that
weather wars.
Richard Nixon was the president and Khrushchev was the president in Russia. They signed the first of 2 treaties. They're called the Salt Treaty 1, Salt Treaty 2.
Yeah, I remember them.
In there, you'll find a paragraph associated with the fact that thou shalt not use weather warfare against the other country.
Mm.
60s. So
Wow.
in the 60s, who would consciously write that in a treaty, weather warfare? So obviously it was around and it was
Yeah.
articulated. Because in the 60s, I mean, we used to get all the newspapers would take photos and say, "Oh, we've got cloud seeding going now, and that cloud seeding, we're going to see if we get rain," and everybody's looking up, and then the radio stations will talk about it. When of course, cloud seeding has been really, really fixed up to a point that you just have to look and you can see the trails going across the skies, and boom, boom, and they really got it down to a fine art. And the sun reflects through the actual chemicals. So you see these different rainbow patterns and all that stuff. And so because
and Jeffrey, it's interacting with the 5G and all the Wi-Fi and radiation from the technology. It's everywhere. There's a soup of this radiation that we can't see. So those chemicals are interacting with that. And we don't know what that is doing. All I know is the weather's not normal. The sun has teeth that bites, as does the cold. It's not normal. It's
but it's more than that. It's actually get into our agricultural land, and it's getting into our aquifers. So it's our food chain, all the whole 9 yards. So there's a lady called.
Sorry, sorry. Carry on.
We've got a lady called Bronwyn Holm, just lives around the corner from us. So her grandfather explained to her that the topsoil was going to be eroded. It's going to be gone within a generation, and that's purely because of all the fertilizers that have been placed onto the topsoil and then beaten up. And so he conceived of the microbes, and so 1 liter of this microbe solution, it's quite a thick solution, and you break it down with 60 liters of water and you can spray it, and of course then the microbes then get into the soil and start aerating the soil and start to bring in that produce. And of course so she's out there, Earth Foods, you can look that up. So if farmers took 1,000 litres of it, that's 60,000 litres. So she's given us an example of a place up in Gympie, north of Brisbane, where the guy used to get a wheelbarrow of pumpkins to take to the market. So with her and micro irrigation and all that stuff, and then they'd go and put straw down and sort of composting and stuff, and then put the actual solution into the drip feed. He now gets a truckload of 20 ton of pumpkins.
Wow.
And he's only got a little 5-acre bloody farm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that microbes? It's called.
Microbes, yeah.
Gosh.
Yes.
Well, yes. I mean, the quality of the soil is so important, and again, it's being attacked. But this is a long-term thing. It's not just happened in the last sort of this in the 20s. It's been going on since 100 years or more.
Yeah, well, there's a guy, Peter Andrews. If you look him up, he was on the ABC story, Australia story. Peter Andrews. So he actually drought-proofed his own property, but then one of the major 4 banks, National Australia Bank, but he foreclosed on him. One of his members of his family committed suicide. It was really amazing where he was. But anyway, one of the guys, Jerry Harvey from Harvey Norman retail outlet, saw what he had done to his property. So he got him to come onto his property and he drought-proofed it. And when he drought-proofed his, then he drought-proofed another guy called Richard Pratt, who owns Visiboard, cardboard manufacturer, and he drought-proofed his property. So the ABC story was with a helicopter going across tracks of bloody New South Wales, and it was just arid. The drought was so much. It was really just ripping it up. And then all of a sudden the helicopters come along and you see this green whole pastoral properties created by Peter Andrews. And it was so simple. It was almost like Walter Schimberger, the Austrian buddy forester. Wow. So he was working with the little brooks, the little creeks, and he would be throwing rocks in, and he'd be throwing dead trees into them, and so that they'd create these little eddies, and then the water would build up. Once the water built up, the little insects would come and dance on the water and stuff, and somehow or another, the frogs came back, the birds came back, and this little microscopic climate sort of took place. And then you get these quick growing wattle trees, and because they go within 7 years and die off, but they create a canopy, and the next second these other trees would take root because of the carried in the wind, or the birds would bring them. And so hence the reason he was starting to build up this greenery. And the other thing was, when you go there to slash in these stuff, he was always saying you keep the roots of the weeds and all that stuff in the ground, just come over the top, whether it's 4 inches or whatever, 6 inches, and just lay it on top, and it sort of becomes the composting.
Wow.
So you start to build up your soil. No, Peter Andrews, yeah.
Yeah.
Works.
That proper husbandry.
Yeah. But Judith Collins, with her company, her thing called Earth. What's his name? So, what's she call herself? Hang on a sec. I'll put it in the private chat there. Earthkeepers.com.au, earthkeepers.com.au, and it's got all the different scenarios. It's a 16-acre property, and they created all these microclimates, whether it's arid or whether it's semi-arid or whether it's desert or whether it's rainforest. So they created these little areas there that say people would come as a living university to see how you can work with nature.
Yeah. Should be taught in schools, really.
Yep, I understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming back to your next photo. Sorry about that.
Okay, here we go.
It's organically grown. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this again is could be a bit bigger. There's a lot in it. This is this was a different march. It was against the lockups and COVID, and but this was in Hyde Park, and they wouldn't let us out onto Park Lane to go up into Oxford Street and along Oxford Street. And then they herded everybody. There was so many of us, and we had a gate that was probably, I don't know, maybe it was 6 foot. It was maybe 10 foot wide to get all these people through. I mean, they would just play silly games with us. But so I was up quite high on a wall or something, and yeah, it's just people everywhere through the leaves. And Bob Marley's words have never rung truer, or they ring true every time they're used. So yeah,
What does it say?
You have to make it bigger.
I mean, that's him in the middle of the picture. So let's blow it up and see what they've got.
So when tyranny becomes law,
I
can't hardly
resistance becomes duty. Get up, stand
Resistance becomes duty. Get up, stand up for your rights. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, I can.
Yeah. If you don't know your rights, you haven't got any.
Yeah.
So yeah, and all the way back, you can see beyond.
When tyranny becomes
everywhere.
law. Yeah, absolutely.
Rams.
Well,
this is where you've got to be 6 foot apart. I mean, please.
I mean, there used to be a terminology used, and it was called police service, and they changed the words to police force.
Oh, interesting. And police, it's policy. It's all policy. Policy.
Yeah, what do they call
So
it?
they used to be peace constables, but they're not anymore. Well, maybe there's some of them still are.
Yeah, well,
that's a big bag of freedom.
Yeah, you need
Is that from Gucci?
That. You need to reduce that. Yeah, so you can see the rest of it. And some more.
Oh wow, what's she saying?
The world
is ours. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's down Oxford Street. Yeah. And it's very much like it wasn't just, as the press, as the mainstream media would kind of put out that, people that stand up and protest, they're all sort of scummy sort of people, but it's not the case. I mean, there really isn't. It was ordinary, everyday people. And she just looked quite chic and classy, and she's got a Gucci bag, and it was like, it's all of us, everybody. Everybody's feeling this.
Well, that's a school of common sense, isn't it?
Well, not so common sense. No, it's not so common. And then the next picture is then we had
like the
farmers demonstrations, which was it this year or end of last year? Time's so weird. But yeah, all these tractors rocks up over inheritance tax, and the land grab on the farmers have been going on in Europe. I mean, it was extraordinary. I mean, there were just, I don't know how many tractors, and they had all driven in from all around the country to block up and make a protest outside Downing Street. And then they drove out past Westminster, over the bridge, and eventually it dispersed. But it was amazing. But the first farmers' demonstration didn't have the tractors. It was just lots of farmers. It was packed outside Downing Street. Whitehall there is a very wide road, and it was full side to side, and it went down to Westminster towards the square. It was incredible, and they were all there, and they had Jeremy Clarkson gave a talk because of his Clarkson's farm. He did brilliant with that. He really brought a lot of awareness. Whatever you may think of him, I think he really did some good stuff there. And I've spoken to farmers like at the farmers market, and they appreciate what he did for them.
Well, the thing is, the farmers of this country are what feed us.
Yeah, well, no farmers, no food.
No farmers, no food. Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, I went to a couple of those, but then again, these things seem to get directed. Sort of, it's a group of people with some money and agendas sort of move in and start sort of herding the crowds.
So it's Whitehall is the big road you're talking about.
Yeah, it was here. Yeah, you can see there how wide that is. Well, there's more behind the photographer. So this is where this was rammed full of farmers, their kids, their wives, all sorts. It was incredible. And then the next demonstration, they brought the tractors. You won't find anything about the demos there, I'm sure. Well, very little, if anything. Yeah, it was a big road, rammed. And this is the same road the COVID marches, against COVID down as well.
When I was younger, there was no barriers or anything to Downing Street, and now it's just so super secure, super locked up. And these are the people that are supposed to be representing us. Well, maybe there's a there's a metaphor in there.
I think we've been hoodwinked.
Yeah, because you used to go down. Well, see if I can get the photo there, but on the right here, you used to be able to go down into the World War II bunker, where and all that stuff. So the war rooms, I think they used to call it. So
there's still war rooms around in Whitehall.
There is.
But that was where the public, you could actually go in there. I remember going in there. But as you said, the fences come up. But then they actually removed the war rooms and they took them down to another part, which overlooks the embankment.
I think my nephew worked there in the war rooms. He was doing something there. It was a place the public could go, as far as I.
Yeah, not now. It's all locked up. You can't.
It's a while pre-COVID. But now, it's this, and they even fence up Trafalgar Square, which is where the first COVID get-togethers. People coming together and going, no, we don't consent to this. And now any demonstration they put up, they seal off areas and they seal off Westminster Square, the grass area. Yeah, it's really. Well, they're worried, aren't they? They're worried.
Well, there's an awful lot of fencing going up, isn't there?
Yeah. So and then if with my last picture, or last two, I think this one of the chaps sitting on one of the Trafalgar line. Oh no, this is also So this is the question.
Oh, when will the British government act for the British people? Okay. More farmers as well. Okay.
That's to say, But this was. It's like.
Yes. What a great photo.
If it comes down, that's it. Yeah, because just sort of the British Lion and the.
And this is at Trafalgar Square.
Yeah. And Nelson's column, Trafalgar Square.
Yeah.
And the four
And
lions.
is he doing the peace thing?
It looks that way, yeah.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? A Winston Churchill victory. Victory
Wow.
salute. Okay.
Um,
I was watching question and answers. Is it Q&A with buddy the guy Fry? Is that his name?
Sorry,
English.
Stephen Fry?
Stephen Fry, yeah. Is it does he do Q&A or something? And he's got some panels there, and is that the show?
Yeah, he does some kind of question
Yeah,
program.
So he had the a photo of what you see on the English soccer team, and everybody
the 3 lions.
and he said, "Is it lions?" And it turns out they're not.
What
They're
are
actually
they?
leopards.
The who?
Whippet.
Leopards.
Oh,
Leopards.
Yeah,
Ah.
it should be called 3 leopards because there's no lions in this part of the world.
well, that's definitely a lion that he's sitting on.
Yeah, I know that's right. Yeah, you got him around Trafalgar Square, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of, to me, it's this sort of it's that very British stereotype that it's, you know, the guy in the vest. Really muscly. He's very, and it's like, yeah. And then I just thought I'd end with a pretty picture after all that traumatic sort of what we've been through. You could make that bigger. And these are.
Is this a composition or is this you
straight picture? It's just a rose.
Is it?
Yes, rose after.
Yeah, but there's plenty of water on that.
It's the rose after the rain, so it's been raining.
Ah, yeah. That makes sense.
Shot a flash onto it, and it's just very different image. I have so many pictures. I mean, especially around the. I'll make some books of the demonstrations and different phases with my imagery. But they all represent different sort of phases of my life and how I've. And how, just really, because it's my life story through images, and I'm taking loads with my phone. I mean, what do you do with those? It's just too much. It was simpler when I was doing just black and white film. You know, hardly anyone had a camera, and it was a very different way, a different sort of use of the medium. Whereas now it's just become anyone can take a photo, but can they? But they're taking pictures in very different ways. It's just like, look at me, look what I did. It's this sort of self-affirming thing of and taking people further away from experiencing what's going on. Whereas the type of photography I do is very much, I think it brings people back more to the present and that experience of what they're looking at and how they react to that, as opposed to taking themselves out of that, which I think a lot of photography, you know, with the camera phones now does. You know, it's all very...
So when you take your photo without you thinking about it, do you work on the 2/3, 1/3 rule when you're taking a photo?
No, I've always just what looks right. But then when I did this film course, which I did last year, they very much went into the thirds, you know, so I find it a bit distracting, because then I'm having to think about what I'm taking a picture of, whereas before it's very much just an experience. But I do consider it more now. Yeah.
So you can go to the next level and use the Fibonacci. You look for a spiral. But what I'm saying to you at the moment is that somehow or another, do you ever see faces in the clouds, or do you see faces in trees?
Used to see loads in the clouds, but since this chemtrailing and the harp, you know, with the frequencies and those combinations have come in, I hardly see any nice imagery anymore. What I do see is very jaggedy, they're like negative, sort of spiky, maybe a face or something, but it's got a very different. I don't really see that anymore, and if I do, they're not nice faces.
Right. So nature. So if you're walking in the bush or whatever, and you look into the trees and that, can you still see the faces in the trees?
Maybe in the tree trunks, not so much the leaves and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I can see. Yeah, the trunks have a lot of expression. Can do.
Because that's where I see. I mean, I see them in the water. I see them in water, you know, and I see them in the. Sometimes you just look down and you can see them in the floor, and of course in the air. But what I realized is that it's that Fibonacci pattern, and it's somehow I've got it locked in my brain. So when I come to take the photo, it's already there. And then when I put it up on a big monitor, because of the high scale of the pictures these days and the pixels, you can actually crop them, and you can see pictures within the picture, and you still get high resolution.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. Sort of hyper reality kind of thing. Yeah.
But when Obama got elected, the guy sent a photo to us to the radio station, and he said this was taken with a 1 pixel camera, and it showed you how the guy came with a like 5 foot long bloody suitcase, and had to pull it out and put it all together. It's a massive big camera with a like telephoto lens thing on it, and it only took 1 pixel. And the caption was, Jeff, go 200 yards into the photo and look for the woman there who's got the pearl necklace around her neck, and she's wearing orange. And that 1 pixel photo, you just kept. Yeah, so that's the type of camera that the intelligence organizations are using, which they have on the satellites and on ISIS space station. Yeah.
It's pretty intrusive stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, well, now they've shortened it down. It's not as big as that anymore. It's really small now. And some 10 years ago, this camera came out called the camera.co.com. Yeah, it was American, and it had 15 lenses. So you got your camera here, and instead of having just the one, this had 15 lenses right across it, and it could. And what it did was they showed you the photos. You could have a couple, and they had a photo of this couple sitting at a table with just candlelight, and he took the photo, and it was just like daylight. And what it did was those 15 lenses were all was all done by emulsions with the software, and captured the photo, brought it back in, merged them all to be able to give that 3D. It's almost like really spatial. Anyway, it came up for sale. They offered it $999 and I thought, oh bloody hell! And the capturing bloody athletes or just scenery and oceans, the waves and all that stuff. I said, oh, grab that. It was bloody gone in 12 hours, mate. They sold the whole stock in 12 hours all over the world. Anyway, so waited for 5 years, and then they said, okay, we've got these stores now in these different countries around the world. It's now $19.99. Yeah. Did you know they sold out all their stock in 24 hours all over the world? Just sold it out. Boom.
What's it called? What's it called, this camera?
Camera.co.com. However, they no longer do it because their software proprietary. They realize they're making more money selling their software proprietary. So they ended up selling it to various organizations, corporate as well as government, but also to the phone companies. So now, whereas the past you just had the front lens and then you had the rear lens, now you're starting to see with Apple, with 4 lenses at the front, I mean, this one I've got from Oppo, this has got 4 50 megapixel bloody lenses on it.
But you have very limited control. This is the thing. It's like with our where you can control the aperture and the speed of the shot, for the blur or the focus. This one
here is 512 gigabyte hard drive and 16 gig of RAM on it. Extremely quick.
Yeah, I find like it's a different experience when I use my digital camera, my SLR, you know,
Mm.
proper old fashioned
Mhm.
to using a phone. Yeah, just it's very different. So
Right.
now, so where I'm now at is I did this
Oh,
film
well done.
I mentioned, um,
Thank you.
and we had to make a film for this course. It was only a 9-week course, and I stumbled across a story from the boathouse down the road, down by the river, obviously, and I just asked if there was any stories, you know, ghost stories or anything around the boathouses in Richmond Bridge, and he said yes, there is an untold story. So I did a little trailer on this subject about a wooden submarine. It's a true story, untold, and so I did the trailer. Everyone loved it, and I just did it because when I came out of photography college, also I was told at my last assessment, you should go into film because you're always telling stories with your photography. And that's very much what composites do. They have you could never take that picture at that one time. It would be a film, but it's all in one image. So sort of connected into my film aspirations. Everyone who saw the trailer just was so encouraging and questioning, and I mean, it was extraordinary. And the way I'd done it and put it together, because I had all my photography experience to help make something, and it looked pretty good, I thought, and other people were thinking so too. And so I've just been encouraged through friends and the people they know to expand this project and get a whole program made, because it does need a whole program. The trailer was not enough. So that's got legs, and that's coming together nicely. So that's rather exciting. So it will get made, and I will tell you all about it another time. But this is the thing about really tuning in to what do you really want to do, you know, what do you love doing? Because if you really focus on that and you have this belief of self, like you can, this is what meditation does for me. It really helps me, strengthens that trust in myself, belief in myself. And, you know, I have every right to be here. We all individually do. And what we do with this life is totally up to us. We have to navigate around this and that, of course, being in this world. But we can create through who we truly are, whatever you feel that may be. But that's you know, you don't know what it is not to exist. You don't know what it is to be born. You know, as far as I'm aware, I've always existed in some way. It's this consciousness, spirituality, what combination of both, whatever it is, it's incredibly powerful and a gift. So yeah. So I've just always held to that if I really want to do something, and as long as I'm consistent in it and allow it to other people, like I'm not controlling it, it's just my desire, what I want, and I'll do what I can and just allow whatever else comes into play, and one step at a time, and it's working. And I have to say, at this time I probably feel the most sort of on my, what gives me the most enjoyment, you know, I'm not being pulled in other directions that are stressing me out or taking my time. You know, the more I follow myself, what I want to do, it seems to work, and it's the right time. And you know, there's a lot of other variables come into place, but I think it's, especially now when the whole structure of everyday life around the world has been so compromised through COVID, especially, it sort of broke the hamster wheel of everything, you know, of how we function, and it's broken the constraints that we lived within without realizing a lot of the time. It's a very, very exciting time. It's not easy because it's uncharted territory, but you know, we just gotta keep with ourselves and just keep going.
So we're going to be welcoming Cythare the filmmaker in the next little while.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, really, doing that. So yeah,
Natural progression.
Yeah, but also being able to handle it, because as much as I would have liked to have done it in my 20s, you know, I wasn't in that sort of space, and that, yeah, everything comes at the right time, I think, also, which has happened here. I was literally given this, you know, I just asked the right question. Are there any stories about this place? That was it, really. But it's recognizing, isn't it? It's saying what it's recognizing opportunities that get presented to you, you know, and whether you tune into it or run with it or not, you know. There's many ways we could go. Like, I think if I decided to do that instead of that, I would have had a very different experience. But I think ultimately, whatever we choose, it's never the wrong decision. We're still going to have those emotional experiences that are going to aid us to become more who we are, which is a forever journey. I feel that's my experience.
Okay. Wow. Well, as our usual kind of closing question, is there a burning question that I ought to have asked you that I haven't, that you'd like me to ask you now? Just tell me what it is.
I have no idea what your burning question might be.
No, because I've obviously overlooked it if I have or I haven't. Is there anything you want to tell us now?
I wrote a couple of things down. I don't know if it's any of it's relevant now. No, I mean, I don't. I just no, I can't think of anything. Unless you have a question, Jeffrey.
And that's organically growing. I can see how, you know, applying a spiritual eye, you know, through a camera lens has evolved. It's good.
Yeah, and the more we can be connected, that relationship we have with ourselves at any given time and situation, or with other people, it very much, the more we feel at peace and integrated within ourselves, and then that comes through and takes us on the right, more beneficial paths.
Well, the thing is that remember that Life magazine that used to come out in the 60s and 70s? That, I mean, that was just a photo montage of life. You know, now it's just been speeded up. Sometimes I look at the cave drawings and then realize, oh, it's crop circles now. They've moved on from cave drawings to crop circles. But yeah, it's about the imagery of getting the message across, and fashion and music, you know, changes from one decade to another. So, you know, you're just capturing in your journey of life and components of what life is. And so thank you for recording it.
Oh, yeah. A privilege to be asked to be on the show. Thank you so much. It's been lovely. Yeah, and I just
too.
But it's been interesting having this, because I haven't been interviewed about me like this ever before. I mean, I've done interviews with other people, but of other people, you know, I'm not the one being interviewed, but it's really put together, like I could see the thing about Australia running through my work or inspiring my work. So yeah, it's been really a good experience and interesting for me too. So thank you. Yeah.
Very good. When we see you,
carry on being Cythare. Over and over. Carry on being Cythare. May she grow and grow and become a film and a book and whatever Cythare, how the journey evolves and navigates and takes you to the next place.
Thank you, and I
wish
that
for delight.
Yeah,
it's been a complete delight, and I can see the effort that you've put into just putting all those images together, so that it shows the journey from, well, well, it shows part of your journey. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I can't put everything in the show, but it certainly
No.
shows some. But I wish that for everyone watching the show too. You know, just to really tune into who you are, and because the distractions are just going to get bigger and bigger and scarier, and you know, it's all distraction. The good stuff, the bad stuff, just come from your
Take heart.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
come from the heart, and yeah, it's
Excellent.
wonderful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
See
Okay.
you next time.